courtesy of my friend Gage, is a glory brass trumpet with this weird sort of black nickel plate. It's very interesting. I actually quite like the look of it. In terms of general aesthetics, it's pretty much what you would expect from a student model trumpet. You know, it's got your first valve saddle, third valve adjustable finger ring, which you can adjust with relative ease. It is a little bit loose, so sometimes if the screw's not really done up tightly, it'll sort of slide around a little bit, but that's okay, not the end of the world. It's got a singular brace on the tuning slide like most student models. The engraving on this is hands down the best I've ever seen on a student model. Why you would put this much work into it, I don't know. It's all you know, almost the color of lacquer, and it's not just printed on, it is engraved, and it overall is very, very nice for a student model. It's got the Glory Brass logo on there. Not that great of a font, but the actual engraving, like the leaf pattern, is just incredible. In terms of functionality, this trumpet is fairly nice. The valve action is good, but especially this valve is just way, way bouncier than it needs to be. It shouldn't bounce quite like that, I don't think. But they work well. Slide action is pretty rough on this particular instrument, and the slide stopper here seems to have been lost, so I almost sort of lost the slide off the end there. I've tried to clean it up a little bit, maybe I'll try some more later. The tuning slide works very well. I think it might be a little too loose, which is good if you want to adjust your tuning, but not so great if you don't like spit leaking out of the gaps in here. So that is another feature, shall we say, of this instrument. It's got one big dent there, doesn't hinder functionality too much. You know, what else is there really to say? The water keys are nice, the corks are well made. They form as good of a seal as you would expect, and allegedly my friend got this trumpet for all of $100. Plays very well considering that. In the intro clip, the mouthpiece I was using was the generic 7C provided with that. Particularly if you don't like small mouthpieces, don't play on that thing. It's, as usual, the mouthpiece is the weakest asset of the instrument. Get yourself a better mouthpiece. I'm just going to use my Blessing 1.5C on this. I get a beefier sound in general, you know, more resonant. Not too bad. Slotting's alright. It resonates well, at least with this larger, slightly better mouthpiece. I mean, intonation seems tolerable. I haven't found any awful notes. It's just that you really gotta work this third slide in to get it to work on those low Ds. But it plays quite well. I sort of played an orchestral excerpt there. Probably not the best choice, considering this is the sort of horn you would use as probably for pep band or for a rock band or something. I don't know, we'll test the high register and see how that goes. So I figure I'll play some Body Snatchers by Radiohead for you guys. Here's like the middle to upper register, sort of the money notes, I guess. Pretty good, pretty darn good, I'd say. Especially considering the fact that this cost my friend $100. I guess we'll test some of the stratosphere now. This song ends with some 7/8 and high E in the lead trumpet, so I guess we'll play that. Let me see if I can remember it. High E is not great, I'm gonna say that. It could be a lot better, doesn't slot that well, but on the other hand, it's that way on my nice Yamaha trumpet as well, so I don't necessarily expect great things from this, $100. I think it's pretty good. Speaking of bad notes in the high range, I've yet to try double A. Let's see how that goes. Not bad. Honestly, this sounds pretty good in the stratosphere, even with someone of a not very high caliber like me. Low range isn't that great. I think both the instrument and I have a long way to go in that regard. But at any rate, it's pretty good up high, and I think that's where it's going to see most of its use, considering that, as I said, this horn's probably mainly for use in things like pep band, marching band, rock bands, maybe if you're in one. You'll turn a couple heads with this very interesting looking horn. I mean, it looks quite nice, I'm not gonna lie. The nickel plating is certainly an interesting addition. You wouldn't want to use it in a symphony, but as I said, in a rock band, it'll look really great. The engraving's it's just nice. I don't know why there's so much on a $100 instrument, but Glory Brass did this one right. Something I usually look for on a horn that I think should mainly stick to jazz and rock is things like lip bends and shakes and all that. This trumpet lends itself pretty well to lip bends, I think. Personally, lip bends aren't really my thing. I'm not very good at them, but I'm working on them, and I think this is pretty good for them. It has got compression. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. The second valve's sort of stuck. I can't really get this one out. But it certainly has compression, so it's not a leaky instrument. And it does bends pretty well. What more can you really ask for? Shakes are pretty good as well. Again, what more can you ask for $100? I mean, this is really quite something. The inevitable pitfall of a $100 instrument is going to be that it's not quite as easy to play. It's not quite as free-blowing as something like a Yamaha. It's a little easier to do this on a Yamaha. Than on a $100 student model trumpet manufactured God knows where. But at the end of the day, for $100, I don't think I can find very much that beats this. I mean, this is really darn good, actually. It's, again, it's not something I'd use if you're playing in a youth orchestra or a concert band or anything like that. But this makes an excellent spare trumpet to use for things like marching band. So to wrap this video up, I'd just like to take a brief look at the case. It's not bad by any means. It's a sort of soft case. It's got the Glory logo on there. Again, I don't like the font. It's not great. Looks a little tacky, especially with all the nice engraving on the bell. That font looks a little weird, but it's all right. Nothing too bad. But, you know, it opens up and the instrument fits inside. The molding's pretty decent. The mouthpiece compartment is entirely loose, which isn't great, but whatever. Overall, not a great case, but it's fine. It comes with this purple sort of polishing rag, I guess. Feels nicer than some of the ones I've felt before. But yeah, that is the Glory Brass trumpet. I'd like to thank my friend Gage for letting me review this instrument and test it out for a couple days. And you know, it's been a lot of fun to play, actually. I'd strongly recommend this for marching band use.